What we're doing today is we're going to take dirt from the highest point and drop it off in the lowest points with shovels and wheelbarrows, and then we'll finish it with rakes. Alright, now we're bringing stuff down to this spot. I'm also getting out some of the quackgrass rhizomes in this area with a rake and a pitchfork. Alright, I'm going to start rototilling. I'm going to start on this side because the guys are working. They've already worked a lot of this, so I'm just going to start shaping beds. Alright, those are my beds. I got exactly the 11 that I calculated. Notice that I didn't use any string lines, any measuring tape, or anything to mark out where I started. One of the easy things about being in a city and having these, my neighbor's fence, a garage beside me, is I've got these really visible fixed points that I can follow. So you'll notice that what happened was I started here at a fixed point. I went over the first bed a number of times till it looked straight. So I'd step back from it and I can look at it and make sure it looks straight. Then I worked my way to the end, and according to my measurements, I was supposed to have 11, but by the time I got to the end, I was about at 10 and a half. And so what I did was I went right to the other end and I started back down there, and I started the beds from there, just making my walkways a little bit shorter. And then by the time I got halfway through, maybe a little bit more, maybe about 3/4 through, I didn't have to change the last 3 beds because I just brought those in just a little bit more on the walkways, and then by the time I finished it up, I had the 11 beds that I was looking for. And so you can see we've got our beds now. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the machine and I'm going to go over these beds another time. For 2 reasons. One, to just make each one a little bit more straight, but also to walk out my walkways more so that they're more clearly defined, and then we can just really easily see where the beds are. And I still have a general slope from up here to coming down here, but I think it's enough that I can live with. I measure my walkways by just my 2 feet together. So our walkways are fairly narrow. They work out to be around 10 inches. The guys came back to help me get the gear out of here, and we're just using some rakes to touch up the end. At this point, these beds can be finished with the tilther, so we'll bring in compost after this, and we're going to spend a bit of time raking quackgrass out as it comes up in the beds. So we'll do a bit of that now, and I'm just going to double check my measurement to make sure that these beds are 48 feet. So what I did was I measured 50 feet from there, I made a footpath there.
Yeah.
And then you measured there, and then I just looked. I just looked at my fixed point, and I just walked forward and keep concentrating on the fixed point. I can pretty much walk out dead straight lines that way.
Yeah.
So now I can take this short rake,
Yeah.
and then kind of level this area out
Yeah.
a bit. All right, we are out of here. We've covered it back up with the tarp because we're expecting rain for the rest of the week. So that way we'll just let this sit, and then next thing to do is come in with compost and fertilizer, run the tilther, and then we'll be able to put landscape fabric around the perimeters and on the beds, and then we'll be planting Salanova. See you later.